Welcome to Beyond the Campfire, the Dead by Daylight podcast where we dive into the stories, secrets, and strategies behind the horrors and heroes within the fog. I'm Dogbomb, and I am joined by my co-host, Lemon. Hello, Lemon.
Hi, Dogbomb. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good. What have you been playing this week? Any Dead by
I
Daylight?
have been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight, I think.
Me too.
I feel like we have played a lot, haven't we?
Yes. We've played a lot. It's been Chaos Shuffle, and I love Chaos Shuffle, so I've been playing it as much as I can. I've done extra streams of Chaos Shuffle. I've done loads on a night of Chaos Shuffle. I've played with you. I've played without you. A lot of Chaos Shuffle.
Are you happy?
Yeah, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it a lot this time around.
Oh?
I think the killers seem a little more whimsical this time. I've had a few fun matches. It hasn't felt as sweaty. There have obviously been rancid games, but they are lesser and lesser, I think, this time around. I've had a good
That's
time.
interesting.
Have you had bad games?
I feel like I had a few.
Oh, I've definitely had a few, but they've been less this time, I
Yeah,
think.
I guess maybe not as many as a normal mode, to be fair.
Any particular standout moments this week for you?
Not really.
I had one last night. We had a whimsical Onryo, the ring girl, the
What?
TV lady.
They are never whimsical.
That never happened. We were on the Houndmaster map. You know, that snowy one, the newer snowy one.
Yeah.
And I was on a pallet loop, and we were sort of trying to mind game each other for ages and ages and ages around this loop while somebody else was working on a generator nearby. And in the end, I just stood still, and they kept trying to mind game me. So they just kept going around the mind game. I was stood watching. Person on the generator was just stood watching. And yeah, they ended up being really fun. It was a fun game. So that was my standout this week.
That is one of the games I wish was recorded so I could watch it.
I know. The reason we don't record our offline games
No.
because it's a safe space for people to just chill and relax and chat about their lives and things. But yeah, I often think I wish it had been recorded.
It sounds fun.
And this week sees the release of Stranger Things Episode 2.
Yes. Are you excited?
Are you excited yet?
A little bit. I would
Okay.
say I'm more excited than I was last week.
Mm-hmm.
But I have also finished season 2 and watched the entire season 3 of Stranger Things and the first episode of season 4. So I now know who Billy is.
Good. Okay.
And Robin.
Mm-hmm. I think you've met everyone now.
I feel like I'm in the loop of
You're in the
Stranger
loop.
Things.
Excellent.
I did say I would finish it before it released, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm in season 4. I almost finished it.
I think you're up to scratch now.
Yeah.
You can definitely play it now.
And now I know why Steve has a sailor outfit.
Ah!
Oh, don't scream, please.
Sorry.
I always thought it was because in a season he would be part of a play and therefore be a sailor in an episode or something. But no, he's wearing that outfit all season. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's his outfit. That's why people wear it so much. It's going to be very interesting when people have Steves and Robins, both with the Scoops Ahoy, running around.
Yeah.
It's going to be so cute to see that.
And Robin is cool.
However, this week, it's all about being exhausted in every possible way. We are talking about the nurse. So this week, I'm going to be reading the Lauren backstory. This was written by Lemon. However, Lemon is a little sick this week. So I have taken over the reading. So we learn that the nurse's real name is Sally Smithson, and she was released to the game on the 18th of August, 2016, in Chapter 1, The Last Breath. We learn about Sally in the in-game bio and Tome 6. Sally had a dream about family. She wanted her and her husband Andrew to live in a house built by Andrew where they could have children ring around. Andrew was a lumberjack and therefore could build the wooden house of their dreams. But one day, Andrew's foreman came to pay Sally a visit. That changed her life forever. Andrew was dead, and she was now all alone. Sally had to get a job now she was all alone. The only place she could get a job without an education was at the Crotus Prem Asylum, as only desperate people would work there. But it was also a place where she had to work her way up, doing the awful night shifts. For Sally, every night at the asylum felt like a repeat of the previous nights. So she tried to imagine the smell of fresh soil and tomatoes instead of the smell of sweat and dust she was surrounded by. She walked down the hall that she knew so well that she could draw it from memory, to the room of a young patient. The staff referred to her as the anxious girl. Sally tries to talk to the girl while braiding her hair, asking her about her day. But then in the hallway there is screaming. Sally rubs the girl's shoulders to make her relax. Sally knows that she has to leave the girl and find out where the screams are coming from. She marches down the hall as the screaming gets louder and louder. Sally walks into a room where a hideously scarred woman is screaming. She is restrained to the bed, and as she sees Sally, her scream dies into a soft laughter. The woman in the bed asks Sally, "Did you enjoy the song, sweet nurse? I call it Concerto of Lunatics." The woman has woken the whole asylum. Everyone is awake and they are anxious, screaming, moaning. They can all be heard in the hall. Sally looks down at the woman, whose face is covered in bandages. There is a slit for the mouth and for both eyes. One eye is blue and the other is orange. The woman smiled at Sally and said that it was just for a laugh. Sally steps away from the woman, as she knows there is no point of arguing with the patients. She tries to remind herself that they are sick and deserve sympathy. A line Sally has told herself so many times over the years that she doesn't really believe it anymore. While looking at the woman, Sally is thinking if they really do deserve sympathy. Most of them have not contributed anything but pain to the world. The rest have not contributed anything at all. Sally, who is still looking at the woman, asks her what she has contributed to the world. The woman looks back at Sally and says that she's provided more to the world than 1,000 missionaries, because when she saw sickness, she did not try to comfort it with food and care. She cleansed it. The woman keeps talking to Sally and tells her that she also used to be a nurse. But she did not serve the patient. She served the greater good. That with one simple injection she could remove the weak from the gene pool, and that she watched them die. But the court has not understood anything, and what she saw as logic, they called insane. Days later, Sally is back in the woman's room. This time she almost finds her mismatched eyes sympathetic in the sunlight, but the woman starts talking about some of the other patients who are not built for civil society. Sally tries to daydream herself away, as she has done so many times before, to a lake. Flowers. But no, this time it's not working. She only sees the grim asylum walls. Then the woman asks Sally if she didn't have a husband, as she remembers to have read about his death in the newspaper. The woman even says she cried as she read the article, that she believed that Sally and Andrew would have had beautiful children. Sally gets up and walks to the door, and she tries to push her thoughts away. But she can't, as she feels that everything is so unfair. Her love for her husband was pure. His love for her was pure. Her love and care was for him and for their babies. The sick, twisted beasts living at the asylum had not deserved her care and attention. When Sally walks down the hall, she passes out on the floor. She is in a dream that seems so real that she can smell fresh rain. She sits next to Andrew on a blanket by the lake. She is in a dress that Andrew got for her, and on the card he had written, "A symbol of my love." Then he looks at Sally and tells her that they should go home, and that the lake would still be there the next day. Sally feels the cold breathe through the meadow, but with the scent of sweat and dust. Sally holds Andrew's wrists with both hands and begs for just one more minute. Then she hears a saw, and there are trees. Sally keeps her tight grip on Andrew. Then a tree falls to the ground, sending twigs and dirt into the air. More trees are falling, and everything around the ground shakes a little. Then Sally feels a drop of blood falling down onto her hand. She's still holding tight onto Andrew's arm, but as she looks up, his skull is split in two, spilling blood everywhere with chunks of brain. One of his eyes is staring at Sally, and in a twisted voice, he says, "We would have had beautiful babies, Sally." Sally gets woken up on the floor in the hall by an orderly. Sally gets to the room of the anxious girl and sits next to her, and the girl gives Sally a warm smile. Sally takes her hair and starts to braid it while she is talking, asking if she has gone to see the birds outside. But Sally is not waiting for the girl to answer. She keeps talking, saying the birds will be dead before the girl leaves the room. She can feel that the girl's shoulders start to get tense. Sally looks down at the girl's hair and she sees an infestation of lice crawling around the girl's skull. Sally pulls her hands away from the girl's hair and slaps her across the face. And she says, "Filthy." They get eye contact and the girl is confused and a tear runs down her face and her chin is trembling. Sally steps back and wants to explain that she has been under a lot of stress. She can't do it. Instead, she says again, "Filthy girl," and leaves. Sally is back with the woman in bandages, and while the woman is trying to scratch off a clean piece of skin, she talks to Sally about if you don't clean out, you end up with a place like the asylum. Sally just sits not moving. She is so tired and feels like she could pass out again. The woman keeps chatting like she and Sally were old friends having tea. And she tells Sally that she could give her the list of ingredients for her special injection, the same as she used on her patients. One small injection and they will burn from inside. What she thinks is a fitting way to deal with inhuman filth, and this way Sally would not have to be their servant anymore. Sally feels like the walls at the asylum are closing in on her, and she asks herself for how long she can keep walking these hallways, if it will ever end. As she walks, she sees a boy in a wheelchair staring into a wall. And as she walks by, he asks if the trial has begun. Then there is the orderly walking out from a room. The skin on his neck dangles as he is moving, and he is covered in sweat. His arms are covered in a thick coat of hair, and his eyes are moving from Sally's feet upwards and stop at her chest until he notices that she is watching him. Sally keeps walking and sees a girl that vomits on the floor while she skips. Sally doesn't stop but continues. A man sitting by a broom closet has blood dripping from his mouth. He slams his jaw into the door frame of the closet 6 times and digs in his mouth and pulls out a tooth. He looks up at Sally as though she is the weirdest thing he has ever seen. Sally looks down the hallway that feels like it's stretching on forever. She stops and accepts that sickness can grow no more. Sally fills the syringe as the woman has told her. The liquid is thick and dark. While she is walking the hallway, she can hear her steps, but she is feeling like she is floating. Sally makes her way to the woman's room. If she has to clean all the filth in the asylum, she has to clean it all. And then we have, at the end of the tome, a video clip which shows Sally giving the injection to the woman, the old nurse. And when the morning staff come into work on that September morning, they found 50 dead patients in their beds and 4 dead staff members. The only one that survived that night was Sally, but her mind was gone and she was rocking back and forth. Only Sally knows what happened that night, but some patients had been choked as they had marks around their necks. They got Sally into an ambulance, but it never made it to the hospital. It had crashed in the nearby woods. The ambulance staff was dead, and Sally was gone. Well, thank you, Lemon, for writing that and making it easy to read, and I'm sure you'll be back reading them next week.
Thank you for reading it, Dogbomb, since I have an eye issue.
Let's talk about it real quick. So, what I was going to mention was there was mention of Andrew, her husband, at the
Yeah.
start, and there's a lot of fans of the game that say that Sally has a relationship with the Wraith, Philip. There's no mention of that in any of her backstory.
No, there's not. The only part there is the part from the asylum.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean a woman can't live on after her
Oh,
husband's
I'm
dead.
sure. Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a new outfit and a new job, and then boom, boom.
All kinds of things must happen in the fog that we don't know
But
about.
one thing I do find a bit weird, and
Mhm.
maybe it's not, is that the woman she's taking care of is like picking on her skin, and she
Mm.
has bandages on her face, so there's the slit for the eyes and the mouth.
Mhm.
Why is that the look we kind of know from the nurse, that her head is covered?
Maybe she is embodying the oldness.
Maybe. There must be a connection.
When we talk about the nurse's powers and we talk about the nurse's add-ons, I think a little bit more might be revealed.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Let's talk about those now then. So the nurse, the controversial nurse, the nurse fundamentally ignores all of the rules of Dead by Daylight. She ignores everything that we've ever learned about looping, and she crosses the terrain by using blinks. She chains blinks together, closes down distances, and the strength of a tile really doesn't matter against Nurse's playstyle. There is a trade off, and that is exhaustion. After she blinks, she is briefly stunned and slowed, and every decision that you make as Nurse must be very deliberate, and you must predict where people go and try not to make mistakes. So her power is called Spencer's Last Breath. Um, she starts the trial with 2 tokens. Each token gives her a blink, and you press the power button to do a blink. There is a small window in between blinks where you can chain the next blink, and you can teleport through obstacles, through walls, through floors, through ceilings. You can adjust your teleportation distance by aiming at a point closer to you, and you can teleport up and down by aiming up or down. There is also the state of fatigue, that lasts for 2 to 3 seconds, depending on how many blinks you've chained together. And during the fatigue part, where she exhales, makes a big loud noise, that is her stun. She cannot be stunned while she is fatigued, so you cannot stun her with a pallet or with a flashlight while she is in the middle of fatigued. There is also, and this is worth mentioning, this actually happened almost at the same time as I joined the game seriously. So I've been playing the game for longer than we've kind of been seriously playing the game, but I don't remember this because I wasn't really into the game. But there was something called light burn, and it was patched out around the time that I came into the game, where you could shine a flashlight at the nurse and it would stop her from charging her blinks. And you could shine it on her body while she was charging the blink. It would stun her and force her to be fatigued. So it was a bit of an anti-nurse add-on. They have removed Lightburn. The other character who was affected was the Wraith. You could actually flashlight the Wraith, and that would take him out of being invisible.
Can we get that back, please?
There is a lot of people who want that back. There's a lot of people who want that back. Incidentally, the only thing that reacts to flashlights now, you used to be able to burn the hag's traps as well off the floor with flashlights, but the only thing that is reacts to flashlights now are Nemesis's zombies. They are the only other thing that you can do do with flashlights.
As someone who's not allowed to bring a flashlight, I just give them a pallet in the head. That works better.
That does work as well. Yeah, that's fair. So the add-ons for the nurse, a lot of them are around breathing and breath. There is a whole bunch of purple add-ons which are called X's Last Breath. So there's 4 purple add-ons: Badman's Last Breath, Campbell's Last Breath, Jenna's Last Breath, and Kavanagh's Last Breath, which I guess are people that she killed in the asylum. There is also Catatonic Boy's Treasure, Badman's Keepsake, and one that was mentioned in the
Did you say Batman or Batman?
Badman.
Oh, Batman. Because the guy with the broom closet, that was digging for his teeth.
Mhm.
I think he was like named by the staff as Batman.
Yeah, so there is one called the Badman's Keepsake, and that is a tooth. So that
Oh,
does make
that makes
sense.
sense.
Yes.
I had no idea. Then I would have kept the the weird names.
Yeah, there is also a metal spoon which was confiscated from the bad man.
Oh,
There is a knit comb which belonged to an anxious patient, which is the anxious girl,
Yeah, but the
and
lies.
a dull bracelet, which was part of the anxious girl. Yeah, very interesting. There was a lot of strange things. What called anxious gasp as well was from asylum patient Mary Jenner, also known as the anxious girl. But what do they do? So there is a whole bunch of things that they do. Obviously, some just up and down numbers, but because of the unique way that the nurse works, some of these numbers are quite interesting and therefore change the gameplay of the nurse quite drastically. One of the main ones is Torn Bookmark. Torn Bookmark gives you an extra power token, which means you can have 3 blinks. There was a time when Nurse could have a lot more blinks. This is well before our time. The Nurse could blink around a lot. Um, but yes, you can have up to 3. 3 is the maximum now, which actually makes it super hard to do one of the Nurse's achievements. There is a achievement called From the Void She Kills, and as part of that, you need to do 3 blinks, and you need to grab someone from either a generator, a totem, or from a window. Um, I've done it. I had to kind of cheese it. I made a survivor work on a generator and pretend to be friendly, and then grab them, and then managed to 4K everyone accidentally. Um, but yeah, it's a tough achievement.
I watched that game, and
Yeah,
I don't really feel like killing the whole team was an accident.
it definitely was. It definitely was an accident.
No, you're just being mean.
But yes, the tone book might adds a blink, which is interesting. There was one called Matchbox, which is also another iridescent, and that increases the nurse's base speed. So the nurse's base speed is incredibly slow as she blinks around the map. The Matchbox increases it to 4.4 meters per second, which is still slower than every other killer. She is still not as fast as an Uncloaked Wraith or a Trapper, incredibly slow. The spasmodic breath, however, does allow you to go. If you blink and hit a survivor, it allows you to travel at 4.6 meters per second, which is more like a standard killer. But your power is disabled for a whole minute. An interesting one is Jenna's Last Breath. That allows you to press the ability button to blink back to your starting location. So you blink forward and then you can blink right back to the start. And Campbell's Last Breath automatically blinks you forward if you have any blinks left. So it's a way of kind of quickly transitioning across the map. The one that I use and the one that I recommend anybody starting with Nurse is called Plaid Flannel, and that just shows you the location of where your blink is going to go. Otherwise, you're blinking blind. That all being said, good Nurse players are incredibly strong and incredibly good, and I have no idea how they do it. It's just a way of reading players. It's a way of knowing the maps inside out, and it's incredibly impressive to watch if you see a good Nurse player play. She does bring 3 unique perks to the game, and actually, as she is one of the core killers, um, these are available to everyone from the start. Because the Nurse's add-on was actually brought into the main game. So if you buy the base game, she is now considered a base killer, despite being an add-on to the game. And they are, in alphabetical order, a Nurse's Calling. A Nurse's Calling will reveal the auras of any survivors who are healing or being healed within 28 meters. That's a long way. 28 meters is a long way. It's actually one of the furthest aura reading perks that a killer can have. It gives a lot of information. It's giving usually 2, sometimes 3 people's auras in the same space at once. It did used to be slightly stronger. It used to be stronger with Doctor, in that it would actually reveal survivors that were snapping out of it, out of his madness level, because that was considered a healing action. But that has been nerfed. But this is an incredibly strong information perk. It punishes unsafe heals near hooks. It pairs really well with stealth killers who are looking to find injured survivors. And I use it. I'm currently using it on my Huntress because I'm trying to get long shots, and it is one of the longer survivor aura perks. Her second perk is called Strider. This increases the volume of grunts of pain of injured survivors by 50%, and it increases the volume of regular breathing by 25%. I had to look this up because I did not know what Strider meant, but apparently it is the sound made when your windpipe or your airflow is disrupted. So burns, people who have inhaled burns often have it, and it explains why the nurse does the whole wheezing after doing her blinks. That is what Strider is. This will combat Iron Will. It didn't used to, because it used to multiply grunts of pain, but now it's a add-on of 50% or however many percent. So if somebody's running Iron Will and they are silent, this will bring it back up to 50%. Not the whole 100, but it will bring it back up to 50%. It also stacks. There are a few other add-ons which some characters have. Good Guy has one called Jump Rope. Hunters have one called Coarse Stone, and Nurse has one called Metal Spoon. And they all increase the sounds of grunts of pain, and this will stack with Strider. This synergizes super well with any kind of audio tracking, so it's often ran with Spirit, who, when they are phasing, can't see the survivors, but you can hear all the sounds that they make. It is really, really bad for anybody who struggles with audio. So I myself am partially deaf, and this wouldn't help me at all. I hate anything that adjusts the game sounds. I've kind of gotten used to the game sounds and the game levels. So anything that adjusts that, there's also whispers, which gives you sounds when you're near the characters as killer. They both just mess with my audio processing, and I can't handle it. So this doesn't really help me. One thing that is interesting, though, because this got my brain fizzing a little bit, that you could change the sounds of things in the game. And I was wondering whether anybody's ever played blindfolded, whether anybody's ever played Nurse blindfolded. And of course they have. Hundreds of people have. Well, not hundreds, tens of people have. Lots of people have. On YouTube, if you type in blindfolded Nurse, Dead by Daylight, there are lots of people who've played blindfolded Nurse. Mostly badly, but surprisingly well.
I do like how we go from hundreds to tens to a bunch of people.
There's well, I didn't have time to go through them all, but I did. I watched a couple, and they all seem to go the same way in that they start off not knowing what map they're in, obviously, because they don't know what map they've
Yeah.
started in. And then they're listening out for survivor footsteps or breathing. They're running Strider, and they're running whispers to try and get audio cues. And it tends to end up with a survivor going right close to them, wondering why they're just blinking around the map, not being effective and then getting hit because they've been super close. And then it either snowballs or they just can't find hooks or they have to slug them all on the ground. Yeah. They're not the most entertaining to watch, but it just was interesting that I thought of it, and then when I checked it out, there was
The funny thing here
thousands of people done it on
the
YouTube.
funny thing here is in the groups of people we normally play with in the evenings,
Mhm.
you would be the first one to approach the nurse if she was doing something weird.
Oh, yeah, 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 100%.
You would be our downfall.
I would be your downfall. The nurse's third perk is called Thanatophobia. And this, for every injured, dying, or hooked survivor, all survivors receive a action speed penalty of 2% to all repairing, sabotaging, cleansing, and that does stack up to 8% for all four survivors. However, if all four survivors are injured, dying, or hooked, the penalty is further increased by 12%, meaning that if all four survivors are injured, that is 20% penalty to every single action, every generator repair, etc. This is another one that I had to look up, and it means literally fear of death, thanatophobia. I hate it. I hate it, hate thanatophobia. It's the one that I'm always watching for, especially against Legion. And there was a time when every single Legion would be running thanatophobia, and it would slow the game down awfully. And yeah, 20% slowdown on every single action is very, very slow. Interestingly, in the game files, apparently thanatophobia is misspelled. It's that silly of a word that is often spelt as thatanophobia. And the icon of thanatophobia is also used for the custom game tab in the main menu. So if you ever set up a custom game and you see the little four skull icon, that's the same icon for thanatophobia. But yeah, it is incredibly strong on anyone who can injure everyone. So Legion, Plague can often have a full team injured quite quickly and early, and keep them injured quickly and early. Anyone who people don't heal against, so one hit down kind of killers, Billy, Leatherface. So yeah, thanatophobia can be strong, and I always heal against it. People say don't heal against Legion. I think if they're running thanatophobia, you have to heal against Legion. Otherwise, you're not gonna have a good time, and it's gonna take 40 minutes for a game and just be a not fun time. Some builds that you might want to try with Nurse, using the Nurse's perks. So the first is if you want to learn Nurse's Calling, Lethal Pursuer, Pain Res, and Jolt, just to keep those gens managed. And you probably want to use the Plaid so that you know where you're going to be blinking. That'll just give you some control over where you're going. That'll give you some information as to what's going on the map and where people are. Or you might want to try something like Pain Res, Deadlock, and that will give you, and the double blink range to give you some early pressure and constant downs. Or if you are incredibly keen to run something like Strider, you could try Strider and Nurse's Calling, Sloppy Butcher to keep everyone injured and gasping and moaning all the time, and keep on those noisy survivors, make sure that they never feel safe. Maybe try putting a blindfold on, see how that goes for you. And if you do, then record your gameplay, put it up on YouTube along the other millions of people who have gameplay videos up on YouTube right now.
Millions?
Millions,
Okay,
millions.
just wanted to be clear.
The nurse is not beginner friendly. In fact, is probably the furthest away from beginner friendly. Is incredibly demoralizing if you are used to looping. Incredibly specialized, and at the highest levels can be incredibly sweaty. She is the strongest killer in the game. She consistently hits those high tiers on the tier lists that people put together. She breaks the game. She breaks the game. She breaks everything that you know about loops. She breaks everything that you know about palettes, and she relies on survivors trying to be unpredictable. So rather than running all the way around the loop, lose that line of sight, and then maybe walk backwards towards her or run towards her. If you can see on a straight line that she's blinking, suddenly stop and run back towards her, and that often can get a nurse. A good nurse, no, because they will just blink back towards you again. But a new nurse that can get the rewards. But you just need to break line of sight and be very unpredictable against the nurse. I've played a few nurse games and I'm awful, awful, awful at nurse. I have not put in the time. It is one of the two achievements that I've not got. I've not got the 500 blink hits achievement yet. I will get it, but I I never feel like playing nurse because she is so tough to play and master, and I simply haven't got enough time. And there are too many killers that I want to play that I don't put the time in on a single killer. Do you have any nurse stories? I don't think you've ever played nurse, have you?
No, never. Will I ever play Nurse? No, never. Do I like being up against Nurse? No, never.
I do.
You do?
Funnily enough, yeah. I love going up against nurse because it's either a fantastically good nurse, in which case I'm just in awe at how quickly everything happens, or it's somebody trying nurse out and they are just struggling. And it can make for some really fun games because you've got to rethink how you play the game a little bit with nurse. And I quite like that, which is one of the reasons I like playing against nurse.
Your definition of fun is sometimes so different from mine.
Every week, we like to pick a creator from the world of Dead by Daylight, and this week is no different, although it is a little different. We are picking a person called Shitehawk, ShyteHawk, and that's where you can find them on most services, but mostly Twitch is where we know the wondrous Shitehawk from. We've picked Shitehawk because they run a regular Dead by Daylight tournament called Loops Ahoy. And this Friday, if you're listening to this on the week of release, which you should be, obviously, this Friday is Loops Ahoy 10, and it's raising money for gendered intelligence. Gendered intelligence is the UK national trans-led charity, which improves the lives of trans, including non-binary people in the UK. It's always been so entertaining. I've watched a few of the Loops Ahoy tournaments, and they are so entertaining. Shidehawk commentates throughout, has a wonderfully British dry sense of humour, and always picks some incredible people. And this Friday is no different. He has picked the Complex Wolf, Jiggle Death, Straker Plays, Normal Steve, and some guy called Dog Bomb is on this week's list.
Dog Bomb.
I don't know him, but
Me
the other
neither.
the other guys are amazing, and I'll be there.
Me too. Because I didn't know about this until last week. I've never heard about Lupahoy before. Um, but I know Shadehawk from your chat, from your Dead by Daylight streams, and they are so funny.
They are very,
They
very funny.
always stumble in with some dry joke that just hits the right place.
Yeah,
I tried to watch a bit of the stream the other day, and that was also just like it was like you were home with a mate.
yeah,
Like it was just chill, and I like him.
yeah. It's really good, and it's a fantastic charity. And this is what Shydehawk puts his energies into in the Dead by Daylight space at the moment. Doesn't do a lot of streaming outside of this, and seems to pick, like I say, some incredible people and Dog Bomb. So that's all very good. So, Lemon, who is next week's episode about?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Because next week we are going to talk about the Swedish Nia Karlsson.
I'm excited. She came out at the same time as Nurse, right?
Yes, they came in the chapter 1, The Last Breath. So, yeah, next week, Nia Karlsson from Sverige.
I will remind everyone that we have a website, beyondcampfire.com, which has links to all major podcast platforms. I'm also going to put in the show notes this week a link to the donation page for Loops Ahoy 10. If you want to donate to Gendered Intelligence, that is where you can do so. Do you have a question for the people this week, Lemon?
No, I don't. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who listens. And if they like our podcast, if they please would follow us on their favorite platform, because that will help with the algorithm so it gets out to more people.
I agree. Um, I have a question, and this goes with my nurse comment earlier. Which killer do people get excited to play against when you load into the game and you hear their music or you see them? Is there any killer that you get excited to play against? And you're like, oh yes, this is going to be a fun game. I'm going to enjoy this. And why? Why are you excited to play against them? Do you have one? I mean,
Yes. Do you?
nurse,
Wow. Mine is Oni.
Oni. Why?
He's just like a big guy that runs like dung dung dung. I like noisy man.
Big stick, big stick.
That too.
And while Lemon goes for a lie down to think about big sticks and to rest her eyes, remember, play safe out there and don't get